this video, I'm gonna make this a little bit better. And we're gonna do it right now. So this post right here, honestly, isn't doing that much. In fact, now it's doing nothing. And this really doesn't need a ton of support, but I want to do something a little better than this because there's nothing here, and this actually goes up behind here and attached this way. I think the better thing to do is to put it under here where these two meet, and then dig a footing or a pier out of concrete and attach it like that. And as you can see right here, it looks like maybe that was supporting this post somewhere, but that was only 10 or 12 inches. We're gonna try and go deeper than that and make it solid. Since my new post is going right here and the old one is over here, this is actually perfect for me. I don't have to do anything. I'll just leave this one in for now. But if you had to, say, remove an old post or at least support it because you want to do a new footing, you would want to support it back here and over here in this case. Just try and stay far enough away where as you're digging the hole, it doesn't start pushing the dirt back in the hole and then having this drop. And to determine where the hole should be dug, this one's real easy because it's so close to the ground. But you could use a plumb bob, which is just a string with a weight on it, and it will hang down because of gravity and tell you exactly where to put it. A chalk line does the same thing. If you stop the handle and hold it up, or if you want to do it this way, you just take a rock and it'll show you exactly where you need to dig. This right here is a sonotube. They have these in 8-inch, 10-inch, 12-inch, whatever you want. This one is 8 inches around, and I don't think I need a ton of support here, but it does need to go up because it did sink a little bit. You can see if I lift it up, I want to bring it back up. But this will do. You can also get what's known as a Bigfoot that goes on the bottom here. It's like a big square if you really want to support something with a lot of weight, but I don't really have to worry about it here, but that's totally up to you. So you put this in the ground and it's like a form for the concrete, pour the concrete and then tear this off, which I'll show you all of that. The first step is to dig the hole so we can put this in. And this is 4 foot tall and I want to go down about 42 inches. So let's give it a shot. I'm gonna get rid of all this stuff. And if you're wondering why you would want to go down that far, if you're somewhere where you don't have harsh winters, it might not be a huge deal, but here in Massachusetts, you want to try and get below what's known as the frost line, because through freeze and thaw cycles throughout the seasons, these can end up sinking because you have ice, it'll freeze, expand, and then when it thaws, it'll contract. So these can drop and they can go sideways and all kinds of things. So I'm gonna try and get down as far as I possibly can, hopefully 4 feet, but we'll see how it goes. Center, it's gonna be right there. So I'm gonna start with a shovel. I would suggest making this plenty big so that you have enough room to move the sonotube around to where you want it. One more thing before you start digging, it would probably be a good idea to contact your utility companies to make sure you're not going to hit any wires, pipes, gas lines, anything like that, because you never know what people buried in the ground. You might know, brand new house, something like that. You might know where they are, but just in case, do it the right way. And as you dig, you can keep checking, make sure you're in the right place. I can go this way a little bit. Keep digging. I love the smell of dirt. So I think I'm gonna have to switch tools, but I'm about 2'8" down right now. So probably about another foot should be good, because I am gonna have some of this sticking up out of the ground. So I'm gonna switch to a post hole digger. And I happen to have the coolest post hole digger ever right here. Not your average post hole digger, because usually you have a handle just like this on the other side, but with this one, you got that handle. How cool is that? It's very old. It was my dad's. It works awesome. So let's try it out. Nice. Now, one thing though that you might want to do, because this is heavy, maybe more modern ones won't be as heavy, but you can break everything up with the shovel as you go, or a long bar, a pry bar or something, just to break up all the rocks and everything, and then scoop it out with this. I have even broken it up with a big bar and then got a shop vac and just kept sucking the dirt out in really tough situations anyways. Whatever you got to do to get the dirt out of the hole. When I say big bar, this is what I'm referring to. Because I got a rock here that I gotta get out. There we go. If anybody knows what this particular post hole digger is called, the type of it, let me know in the comments, because I have no idea. All right, now we can check it with the tube. Move it around like that. Oh, that's pretty good. So I think I'm gonna go just a little bit more. I'm also gonna be filling this in a little bit, doing kind of some more rocks here and making this kind of a flower bed. So I don't want the post to be under the ground. So I just want to make sure I hold it up enough. So keep that in mind when you're doing this. I think we're there. So again, I can twist it around a little bit. I'm putting a 4x4 back here. That's why I went with 8-inch. I do have some room for error. I would love to be in the center of this, but not a huge deal if it's off. Again, check this. Wow, that looks pretty close. And this is a good height where I can bring all this up to the concrete and I won't be burying the post when I do this landscaping here. That looks good. Now let's get it exactly where we want it and I'll backfill it. I got my 2-foot level here and I'll check it this way and that way, get it way in, and then drop a rock. It should hit it right about there. I'm gonna say that's good. Now I'm gonna carefully backfill this. I'm not gonna put any huge rocks in to start, just little by little, try and get all the way around so it stays where I want it, and I'm gonna keep checking it. It'll start to get pretty solid pretty quickly, so that's why it's important to start it off good and in the place you want it. Right there, works for me. And as you fill this, you can take something like a broomstick or a 2x4 piece of strapping and just kind of pack this in there. It will sink. The dirt around it will probably sink a little bit, but the more you can do to avoid it, the better off you are. This will fill in all the voids too. If a rock fell from the side, just go slow and enjoy your day. In case you're wondering, yes, the tube does stay in the ground. This is cardboard and it'll eventually disintegrate. There's always going to be more dirt left over, obviously. And when you're doing this, just be careful when you're close to the edge. Try not to dent this thing in. All right. I'm gonna say that looks pretty good. So now let's say you have a bunch of sonotubes that you've done and it's the end of the day, or maybe one just gave you a lot of trouble and you're gonna pour the concrete tomorrow or the next day. Make sure you cover it with something, a tarp, plywood, a bucket, even if it's not gonna rain, because you could have a critter jump in there. Trust me, I know, because I've had to get a possum out of a hole like this before, and it's not fun. So, but that's not the case for us. We're gonna pour concrete right away. Now you're gonna wanna make sure that the bottom of this is packed in nice because you loosened it up while you were digging it. So whatever you can find, I'm gonna use this board to just pack that. You want a nice solid base at the bottom. Make sure this thing isn't gonna sink at all. I suppose this is optional, but I have a bunch of rocks here. So I'm gonna put some rocks, maybe just 1 or 2 scoops at the bottom of this sonotube. Yeah, I think one scoop will suffice. Just give it a nice base. Then I'm gonna pack that down. Now we do concrete. This is what I'm using, high strength concrete mix. And feel free to put some rebar in here if you want, or something like that, but that's totally up to you. I'm not going to, but should be fine. And I forgot my hoe. That would have been beneficial, but let's break this open. All you have to do with this stuff is add water, and it says on the tube itself that you only need 1 bag. Let's hope that's true, because I only got 1. Just mix this up real good. You don't want it too soupy, you don't want it too dry. Some dry at the bottom there. That's the consistency I like, right there. Now we can fill it. You could dump it right in, but I'm gonna scoop it because I don't want to miss. And you're gonna want to pack this down the same way as you did with the dirt as you go. Yeah, 1 bag was not nearly enough. Luckily, there was a bag hanging out here, so just make sure you get enough. I just estimate more than what it tells you on the tube. I just want to overfill it a little bit. And you can tap it, see if you can get some of the air bubbles out. And the water is going to rise to the top. And now you can take a trowel or something like a 2x4, scrap 2x4, something like this, make a nice flat top, something like that. You do it a couple times. At this point, if you wanted to add your anchor, you could. This is called a J-bolt, and you would just kind of feed it down where you know your post is going, but that's the thing, you need to know exactly, pretty much exactly where your post is going, because I'm using a post base like this. This goes on here with a washer and a nut, so there's some wiggle room this way, but this way, if it's out, there's nothing you can do about it afterwards. So when you put your post in and this is off, you're kind of screwed at that point. So I'm going to show you a different way to do it where it's going to be exact. We're going to let that cure overnight. You might want to do this a couple times. You can see the bubbles coming up. There's some air pockets in there. And then you can use your 2x4 to make it nice again. See, all the water's coming to the top. It's okay. So we let this cure overnight, and it is still a little wet. If you were supporting something with a ton of weight, you might want to wait a little longer. For this, we can go ahead and put the post in. I'm not worried about it. So let's do that. I am going to put the jack on this side and try and make this even. I think this is starting to kind of fall away from this, so I'll try and get some screws in there. Aesthetically, it may have been better to put the 4x4 right here, so it would be the same as this up here, the handrail, but I wanted to pick up this because this is more important to me because I'm actually hanging stairs from here. This is where the new staircase is going to go. Make sure this is down all the way. What's that? There we go. Make sure it's straight up and down. I just want to see if I can get these somewhat even. Yeah, you can already see it going up. So those are even now. I'll try and get some big lag bolts in here. And this actually probably take off. This is in my way, so I'm gonna just cut this. Now these are pretty long, but I think they're gonna help. Don't split. Go to the framing. Perfect. So now I can put my post base right here and take a measurement. Here, 33.25. And since this is supported and this post is in fine shape, I'm gonna reuse it. Just have to cut it to length. So to start, I'm going to clean up this cut on the bottom. With this, we got to flip it so the saw doesn't go all the way through. You can mark it all the way around, or you can try and line up the saw blade. This one, and I'm going to mark it all the way around. So before I install this, I'm going to use some wood preservative because why not? And just treat the cuts. Not the best cut I've ever made. Let's check this side. That's better. So we're not actually putting this in yet. There's a couple things we need to do. First thing, I'm gonna raise this up just a little bit so that way this goes in nice and easy, and when I'm ready, I can drop it down on here. So we're going to make sure it's in the base like this. Make sure everything looks good. Make sure we like this side of the 2x4 or the 4x4. And I wanna do this right here. That'll pick up this and this. So I'm gonna get a level, and then I want to hold this where it needs to be and make this plumb. If it's off a little bit, we can adjust it. And then this way. This is basically just to determine where that post base is going to be attached. All right, I'm gonna say right there is good. So now I take a pencil, mark around here, put it back here, and then in the center right here, I'm just gonna mark this So this is what I'm going to use. This is a Simpson strong tie. Big bolt, heavy duty screw anchor. So you drill a 1/2 inch hole with a concrete bit, and then this goes right into that hole and secures that base. And this bit is probably just long enough, and it's actually an SDS bit, which goes in a particular type of drill. I don't think it's going to go all the way, so I'm going to use the improper drill for this. So that way I'll be able to adjust it like to here. I'm just going to go right here, and this should be pretty easy because this concrete is brandy new. Hopefully it's not too easy. Uh-oh. Okay, here's a lesson for you. This isn't ready. You see it's chipping away. That stinks. So, because I think, it's early in the morning and we did this in the afternoon yesterday, this is really shady and it got down to 40 degrees last night. So, it's not ready. And even if I got that drill bit in there, this thing wouldn't hold properly. So there's one downside of doing this afterwards. So if you have a J-bolt, you can put the thing in right away, but we gotta wait. All this started breaking apart. As long as I stop right now, I'm not worried about that, but I need this to cure. So we gotta wait. So I just moved the jack and lowered it. I don't want to put this level right now, and I'm just going to put this in temporarily for the day while this cures, because I think I'm going to do some stuff over here. That's fine, and then I can take this right out of here. Okay, now we wait. Another 24 hours later, and this feels a lot more cured. It was pretty cold again last night, but we're gonna try. Make sure my hole didn't veer off too much, as long as I can get that bolt in there. There we go. So I just want to go nice and straight, nice and slow, drill this out. I have to extend this as much as I can. And try and get that dust out of there. I didn't want to buy a whole new drill bit just for this, because I thought I could make it work. I just don't want it to go too wacky here and round this hole out. That's the only thing. So it's not cured 100%. In fact, concrete always keeps curing, and to be safe, 28 days is what's recommended for full curing, 7 days for heavy loads, and between 24 and 48 hours for light loads. And I consider this a light load, so we should be good. So I can put this here, and I can put my bolt in. And some people like to fill the hole with epoxy. You can do that if you would like to, but I'm just gonna go ahead and run it in just like that. I gotta get something to drive this in. I'm gonna make sure this is lined up with my pencil marks as I tighten this. Just gonna use a ratchet and do this by hand. Might take a while. Good. Now we're ready to finally install the post. Set my jack back up here. And raise this up. Actually, make sure this is tight. Aha. just gonna raise this up. Make sure it's straight up and down. And go up a little higher. Try and take the best side of the post. In here. And I went up a little higher here. I want it right to this edge. So I will loosen this jack, drop it down on this. Okay, and I'm just gonna tighten that back up while I attach that a little bit, get it in place. Check it. I can go this way a little bit if I can. Good. Make sure it's nice and plumb. Good. And good. And perfectly level. I'm going to reuse these screws because they're nice. They're stainless. If I could get a timber lock in here, that'd be good, but you could also use a bracket up top here. It's up to you. Again, that's the theme of this video. It's up to you. Now we can remove the jack. And now I'm just going to take some 1.5-inch joist hanger nails and attach the bottom. And I'm going to clear this stuff away. And I'll dig down a little bit around this so I can take the tube off. And build this back up to about where it's going to be. And now we have a nice, strong support for this portion of the deck. And we hit a couple snags along the way, but that happens. If you needed to do something like this, I hope the video helps. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Start it over. I got an 8-inch because changing of the season. Possibly can, basically. Shut up. You're like a GC watching somebody dig a hole. Say, why aren't you done yet? Ah, because there's another rock right there. Always something. Always something. Probably not even gonna, the cut won't go past that anyways. Make sure they line up somewhat. I say footing, it's a footing. Frost heaving. Frost heaving. Is that dumb? Well, of course it's dumb, but is it too dumb? Legit! Thanks, Mike. Come on, Lauren, up here. My hoe's working. She's working right now. Hey, we're filming over here. Wheelbarrow's holding up good. That's looking good. What do you think? And don't forget to clean your tools. More long than big.